So we go from China to the Netherlands. I don't know if Christian is there. One of the, yes. So one of the world experts on fermentation, the intriguing world of fermentation and food design. We know that many of our friends among chefs and cookbook authors have been trying to get some more information about this complicated part of food. And Christian Weij has what we consider the best book on the topic. So thank you so much, Christian, for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm not going to talk really about the books. I wanted to talk about about fermentation, because not a lot of people know what fermentation is. Maybe there's my presentation, if you have it. Yes. So fermentation is my big passion. I'm a food designer, and I started as a food designer about 17 years ago. And I'm fermenting already for 20 years. And 20 years ago, people told me I was nuts fermenting, because bacteria and stuff, the microbes, they are dangerous and you get sick. And if you do it in the wrong way, you can die. And now, I mean, you cannot open a newspaper or a magazine and you read about fermentation and about health and about bacteria, that we really need them for better health. I wrote, let me see which one I need. Yeah. Which button do I need? Doesn't work. Can somebody help me with the buttons? Yes. Now it's gone. So I wrote 3 books. It started 10 years ago with a book in the middle, Verrot Lekker. The first edition was from 2015. And a few years later, I wrote the left one, which is called Verrot Gezond. And verrot in Dutch means rotten. But we have a saying in Dutch, when something is really nice, we say, this food is rotten delicious. So it's just a saying. So that's why I called my books Rotten Delicious, Verrot Lekker. And my last book from last year is about sourdough, the one that I'm making the most. Since 20 years I'm doing sourdough bread. But everything is from the point of view of the microbes. So there are recipes, of course, and they are nice recipes, and I work with a lot of chefs, also Michelin star chefs. But I always write my books from the point of the microbes. And if you look at the sourdough book, most of the books are written by bakers, but when you know exactly what the microbes in your dough want, you can even bake a better bread. So 2 of them are in the finals this year. This is Verrot Lekker and the sourdough bread, so I'm really happy to be here. But let's talk a bit about fermentation. So this is, I'm coaching a lot of chefs. You see a lot of Dutch Michelin star chefs in the middle. And the last one I'm really proud of. This is the Royal Palace of the King in Den Haag. And I got an email a few years ago from a chef asking if I could teach the whole team of chefs. And I've been in the palace for 3 days to teach the chefs of the King on fermentation. And one of the jokes we made is that I said, if the king gets sick out of your sauerkraut or kimchi, don't call me. Huh? So this is my own place. This is what we call proeftuin. It means like a testing garden. This is 7,000 square meters where we do a lot of things with food, all about sustainable food. We have a cooking school, an event area, and we have 6,000 meters of food forest and a vegetable garden. And it's really about inspiration on sustainable food. But let's see about fermentation. All the food you see on this picture are fermented. We never really think about it, but a lot of the food we eat every day are fermented. And if you don't know what fermentation is, it means we change food with microbes. So we use different microbes, like molds. We use molds to change food. And we use yeast to change food. That's one of the most known microorganisms in the world for fermentation, like beer and wine and bread and stuff. And we use bacteria to change food. So bacteria, a lot of them are lactic acid bacteria. So they make our sauerkraut, kimchi, but also all kinds of cheese, dairy products like yogurt and kefir. So about 60 to 80% of the food we daily eat are changed by microbes. So in Holland, our breakfast is almost completely fermented. So it's bread, it's dry sausage, it's butter, it's cheese, yogurt, coffee, and we eat chocolate sprinkles on our bread, and chocolate starts with fermentation of cacao as well. So you see that, and then in the end of the day, we have a lot of flavors that are made by fermentation. And a lot of the things we really love are fermented. Soy sauce, vinegar, Worcester sauce, the Tabascos, hot sauces, all kinds of things that really make our food flavorable are fermented. It started with the hunters and gatherers about 14,000 years ago. They had to go around and gather food because they did not know how to preserve food. When you want to make a farm and you grow your own vegetables, it's not a good idea if you don't know how to preserve the food for later. So when the hunters and gatherers, they started to find out how to preserve food, they had the opportunity to grow their own food. So when they did this, they started a completely new culture. Because of the preservation of food, we could start to invention writing and invention the wheel and invention building better houses. So it all started with preserving food. It's one of the oldest preservation methods with drying and smoking. And it's safe. You see here on the picture all kinds of microbes fighting with each other. And why is every fermented food safe? Because we let the microbe make something to kill everything that harms us. The best example is always alcohol. Yeast makes alcohol from sugar to kill the competition and to kill everything that harms him. We know this because we use alcohol as a sanitizer. But also other microbes do this, like lactic acid bacteria and vinegar bacteria. They make a really sour environment, and in this way they kill other microbes. And even molds do this. The first antibiotics that we used was from the penicillinum mold, the mold that grows on the white and the blue cheeses from France and Italy. And this mold makes something to kill bacteria. I do a lot with the mold called Aspergillus oryzae. That's the mold that makes soy sauce and miso and Worcester sauce and sake. And this mold, we do a lot of research with the university in Wageningen in Holland. There's a big microbiology department. And we found out that this mold makes antibiotics. So the mold kills things that can harm us. So if you ferment the stuff in the right way, it is always preserved and safe. And the nice thing is, our ancestors made kimchi, they made soy sauce, they made cheese and beer and wine without knowing that microbes existed. This is the first microbiologist in the world. It's Antoni van Leeuwenhoek, a Dutch inventor, who invented a very good microscope. And he was the first person in the world that saw bacteria. But before him, we already made all this fermented food. So it means that fermentation must be simple. Because if you can do this without getting sick and even not knowing about bacteria, it must be safe. And the second is, it must be simple. And what I like is that you can use fermentation to change waste into new products. You see beer here. We spoil a lot of beer. In Holland, 10% of the beer is spoiled in the bar by foaming off or by getting a new tap on the tap. And we use this beer to make vinegar. You don't have to throw it away. We use old bread. 30% of bread in the world is wasted. We use old bread to make miso and soy sauces. Of course, they're not with soybeans, but with old bread. And it gives a really nice flavor out of waste. And that's the thing I'm doing a lot. This is a nice example of a research we did with the Wageningen University. You see, this is about a miso. A miso is a kind of soy sauce, but in a paste a kind of way. And you see the unfermented wheat has just some flavors. Every spike is a flavor. And then a young miso, after 6 weeks, has more flavor. And in the end, if you can keep the miso for more than a year, you see a lot of flavors. We go actually from 9 flavors in the wheat to more than 400 different flavors in the fermented product. And that's why we love fermentation, because you get so many flavors. We can make miso in a fast way with chemicals, but then you never get the flavor you get with microbes. And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to really build and design new products with fermentation, and especially more sustainable. So one of the companies we just started is about making miso and soy sauces and these kinds of things out of waste. And we use beans and peas from a conserve factory. 5% of the beans never go into the can, because they don't have the nice color, the skin is broke, but still edible. So we use this to make miso. We make it with old bread and all kinds of other waste streams. This is one of the few of the misos we make. And what a nice thing is, I have my own, because my books are only in Dutch, and I teach a lot of people all around the world. I go to Spain, and I was in Nepal last year, and in Turkey. But my books are not in Dutch, only in Dutch. So what I did is I put all my data in ChatGPT. I trained ChatGPT for 4 months to learn really how to help you with fermentation. So now everybody can use my books through ChatGPT to know how to ferment and to learn about fermentation. So when you ask things, he will make recipes for you. And you can ask him, what is the skin on top of my vinegar? Or you can ask him anything, and he will help you. If you like it, there is a QR code. You can enter this way. You can enter the ChatGPT. If I'm going too fast to the next, oh, okay, I'll wait. But I'm here anyway, so you can come to me and I will give you the URL to it. Okay? Yes, thank you. So that was a little bit about fermentation. I can talk weeks and weeks about this, because every fermented product is different. But I hope you are really a bit intrigued about all the small microbes we have in the world and what they can do for us. So thank you very much.